Representative Mike Quigley. He's a Democrat from Illinois and sits on the House Intelligence Committee, as well as co-chair, I should mention, of the Congressional Ukraine Caucus. Congressman, thanks for taking the time again this morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
So first, I want to get your view, given that you're getting these briefings regularly of the situation in the war on the ground. U.S. intel indicates a refocusing of Russian forces on the east and the south. Doesn't mean they don't change their minds later, but they haven't done so well around Kyiv. Do you believe that is a turning point in this conflict, or is it just a pause as Russia attempts at least to regroup and possibly come back again?
Yeah, certainly this is more of a repositioning. We met with 5 members of the Rada who came and spoke to us this week, and I agreed with them. One of the things they said is it's not just a repositioning, it's Putin's saving face. They were shocked that they got stymied at the gates of Kyiv. And so, they can say whatever they want, that this is humanitarian or repositioning, but the fact is, they need to refit, reconnoiter, and this is their way of saving face while they do it.
There is, as you know, and I know that those members of the Ukrainian parliament communicated this on the Hill, a mismatch between what the Ukrainians are asking for and what the U.S. is giving. Yes, they're getting a lot, the Stingers, the Javelins, these air and missile defense systems, but they want reconnaissance and attack drones. They want tactical radars. They want electronic warfare. They also want close air support aircraft. And you're a Democrat who's pushed for things like that, greater aid. Does that mismatch mean the U.S. might let this war turn around, let Russia regain its footing and push back against Ukraine once again?
I wouldn't just say it's the U.S. I think the Biden administration has done a masterful job uniting NATO and uniting the West and getting the sanctions put in place and the aid needed. But that makes it all the more difficult for the administration to move as one entity. So that's difficult. Having said that, these were powerful meetings with members of the Rada. Our guests this week were all members of the Rada. They were all women. They were all mothers. One showed me an alert on her phone that her 2-year-old child was under an error alert. So we have to do, and we can do much more.
I always say to people, don't mess with the women of Ukraine. I met a lot of female soldiers there, members of parliament, and other civilians who are standing up right now. Let's talk about the peace talks, because as those go on in Turkey, you have Ukrainians presenting at least the possibility of concessions, including territorial concessions, perhaps giving up formally areas in the east, or even swearing off membership in NATO for a period of time here. In your view, is that warranted or defeatist? And might that signal to Vladimir Putin, if he invades, he may not get all of that he wants, but he gets something?
A couple things. First of all, what's happening on the battlefield does affect negotiations, as I guess it always has with war. All the more reason to give Ukraine all the resources they need. You can't half fight a war. One of the things the Rada members told us was Russia is just waiting till we run out of weapons and ammunition. Yeah. So we need they asked for a long-term commitment to let Putin know that we're going to give them all the weapons they need, not just what we've done so far, for the duration of the war. And I think that will help, because most people believe the negotiations are a farce. It's just a tactic by Putin. And unfortunately, Ukraine is battling with a gun, negotiating with a gun to their head.
I want to ask you now about statements of the former president who, once again, and as you know, it's not the first time, has in effect called on Russia, a foreign power, to interfere in U.S. politics, saying if Putin has dirt on President Biden, he should release it. Why hasn't Congress, and under Democratic control, passed a law to ban requests by Americans to foreign governments for help in U.S. elections?
You'd like to think those laws exist, but they don't.
Yeah.
And it's something that has to be first and top of our agenda. Yesterday I addressed the House and I talked about useful idiots. There are a lot of members from the conservative right, not just elected officials, who are saying things that are being used, as you know, on Russian media to help their cause. They're helping Ukraine fight. They're helping Russia fight against our ally Ukraine. They have to be held to account.
Why not pass a law then? You got both houses of Congress and the president.
Yeah, I'm not sure we have both houses of Congress. I think the Senate is as close to a tie as you possibly can. So unless you've got 60 votes, it gets tougher, but it's certainly worth the fight.
Congressman Mike Quigley, always good to have you on.